You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, let's talk about Caitlyn Clark and the peel back the curtain we're starting to get from Christine Brennan, a longtime women's journalist that has been covering the league and college basketball forever. She, of course, wrote the book. Let me just go over and I'll show it to you guys because mine arrives on Tuesday. Yeah, I bought the hardcover right here on her game, Caitlyn Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, Christine Brennan. This is already a number one. You see it right there, number one bestseller. Just that fast, folks. So here we are, and man, she is talking about having a conversation with a WNBA official, and the official telling her, oh, this is going to be unbelievable. This is going to be like so-and-so's arrival. And Christine is literally like, oh, they are totally unprepared for what's coming their way. And talking about the Caitlyn Clark effect. This is wild. Indeed. The day after Caitlyn Clark declared for the 2024 WNBA draft, USA Today sports columnist Christine Brennan made a phone call to a top official in the WNBA. Quote, "Do you know how big this is?" Brennan asked. That official said Clark's arrival was the biggest thing to happen to the WNBA since Maya Moore came into the league. Folks, Christine Brennan knew that answer right there was like, oh crap. They have no idea what's fixing to happen. And it sounds like from this article, the Indiana Fever weren't even prepared for how big this was going to be. So Brennan answered, what? Wait, what? Brennan was shocked. Maya Moore, a Hall of Famer, was called, quote, the greatest winner in the history of women's basketball by Sports Illustrated in 2017. She was talented, beloved superstar in the league, and she deserved all the attention. But outside the league, Moore went virtually unnoticed. So Christine Brennan knew Caitlyn Clark was not going to go unnoticed at all. Clark, she was going to capture the attention of an entire nation. Brennan had been covering Clark in the WNBA for years, and she could see it coming. This official clearly had no idea. Quote, that interaction tells you everything about the utter lack of preparation or even understanding by the league of what was coming. And she would go on to talk about her book, and she said, that's unfortunate, but that's what happened. So the league was completely unprepared, which also tells you, and I could tell by their marketing last year. Remember, they had the lady, I've talked about this before. They haven't run this commercial this year, but they had a lady that worked for the league in a commercial telling you about the WNBA and introducing it. And I said, okay, the league doesn't know what they're doing marketing-wise, because Caitlyn Clark would have been the one hosting that video introducing fans to the WNBA. That in itself, and I said I would have her in every piece of WNBA propaganda that could possibly, that there would possibly be. She would be on everything. Clark's entrance to pro basketball would be nothing like Maya Moore's. Clark would be bigger, more monumental, more earth-shattering, and game-changing than anything that happened in modern-day women's sports. The so-called Caitlyn Clark effect would be monstrous, potent, and it would be real. Quote, how did the WNBA not see this coming? Said Brennan. One of the reasons for having so badly mismanaged Caitlyn Clark's arrival in the WNBA is because did they truly not believe this was going to happen to the WNBA? Were they so regulated to a second-class citizenship by male-dominated mainstream sports media that they never believed this would be possible? The league would quickly see the Clark phenomenon was very possible. It goes on to talk about their preseason game last year, May 9, 2024. This is a fantastic article, okay? And they were talking about the fact that the street was packed with people and cars. This was a quote. Quote, "This is what a Indiana Pacers game usually does." Tony Duncan was used to crowds jamming up the lane. He works on level 1 of the garage for the Pacers and other events. Not the Fever. I call it the Caitlyn Effect. The security staff at Delaware Street entrance into the field house for Clark's first preseason game with the Fever were shocked. There were fans waiting outside 2 hours before the doors opened to pour into the arena for a preseason game. 14,000 of them tonight. Now, if they would just have a crowd like this for every game, that would be awesome. They literally had a crowd bigger than that for every game since. I'm not even going in. She talked to Harry Edwards, who's a psychologist. Well, he's not a psychologist. He's a sociologist. And he talks about the fact that the WNBA should literally held these clinics for the black players to prepare them for the popularity that Caitlin Clark was going to have and explain it. It might be the most lucid thing I've ever heard from Harry Edwards. I've made more than a few videos about that because he's the guy that influenced Colin Kaepernick to basically ruin his NFL career. But he was right about this. The league could have had seminars and meetings with the black players to get them ready and to prepare them and understand, look, what is coming in this league is going to help everybody. It was going to help everybody. And the league did nothing at all to explain it for the league. In December, and I did a video on this, in December, the Indiana Star, or the Indianapolis Star, I guess it is, Indy Star, reached out to Dr. Ryan Brewer, a renowned valuations guru in the field of finance, asking him to put a price tag on Caitlin Clark. What she meant financially to the WNBA, her city, and the country in her rookie season with the Fever. The numbers were so shocking that Brewer was sure he had made a mistake. He ran the numbers again and then again, and every single time he got the same result. Quote, "The numbers are so staggering." Brewer, associate professor of finance at Indiana University, Columbus. They don't even seem real. And he goes on to talk about, of course, attendance, ratings, the whole nine that we have covered at great length here on the channel. But I thought that was very interesting that she talked to a WNBA official, and the official had a comparison to a previous player, and her reaction was, "Oh, shit." Basically, the journalist version of, "Oh, shit. The league has no idea what's about to hit them." And they didn't. And that's crazy. That's crazy that they were not more prepared for that. But we've seen it. We continue to see it in the ratings. Now, I will say this. The ratings have went up in some other games. And everybody keeps saying, well, it's just, nobody's taking an interest at all. Look, even occasionally I will peek at a different game for a quarter, for a half of basketball. I'd have never done that in the past. But I know there's some kind of storyline or some drama going on. Lucy Olson, she dropped 19 the other night for the Mystics. That's an interesting story to keep an eye on, How's Paige Becker's doing? Take a peek for half a basketball, a quarter. Am I going to sit down and religiously watch it? Hell no, especially as the NFL is coming. But Indiana Fever games, even without Caitlin Clark, I haven't missed a second of them yet. It's saying a lot, you know. And they should have also told them, and let's just keep it real, I've called this league an activist basketball league. They should have prepared for the activists for, we've seen the demographics of Iowa and Caitlin Clark fans. You're about to have a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, maybe the majority of people that have showed up to watch that do not align with your lifestyles and values. They should have prepared them. They should have prepared them for that. So you may not like the commentary coming from a lot of people that don't necessarily agree with how you do things. Kathy Engelbert, nothing. Nothing. That's, again, the WNBA it reminds me so much of arena football, minor league, AA minor league baseball, a professional league, NBA G League, but not one of the major sport. I mean, it's the way they do business. It comes all the way down to their watching their broadcast and how unprofessional some of the broadcasts are and how rinky-dinky it is. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. Before we jump in, make sure you go to our merch store, our Make Basketball Great Again shirt, and our newest shirt that just came out. Both shirts are brand new. The American Flag Skull Fever Enforcer shirt. And use promo code CC22 for 20% off.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.